Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tesis Dibra Maschel Kan Lamata Miyud. Let's begin by looking at the flowchart of the Gemara so we could see what Tesis is coming to explain. So here in the Gemara, we responded to what we thought originally. We originally thought that according to Rabbi Abba, who said that the reason in our Mishnah that Ani and Balabayas are Chayev is because the Akira is not being done from the hand of the other person, and the Anocha is not being done into the hand of the other person, but rather the Akira is being done from a basket that the other person is holding, and the Anocha is being done into a basket the other person is holding. And the basket that the person is holding is 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. The Gemara thought to say that according to Rabbi Abba, the Mishnah will not fit with Rabbi Yesi by Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yesi by Rabbi Yehuda holds that a basket in Rosh Hashanah is considered a Rosh Hashanah, and therefore the Balabayas would not be chayev when he did Eitzah, when he carried out from the Rosh Hashanah into the basket that the Ani is holding. He carried from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah, so he won't be chayev. So it would seem that our Mishnah, according to this explanation, will not fit with Rabbi Yesi by Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara responded, the Gemara refuted this conclusion and said that that's incorrect, because we can answer that Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Yehuda says that it's Rosh Hashanah specifically when the basket is above 10 tefachim, since that's one of the requirements for Rosh Hashanah. It has to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide and at least 10 tefachim high. And our Mishnah is referring to when the Ani was holding the basket within 10 tefachim, and therefore it's not a Rosh Hashanah. So Tosfos is going to focus on this comment of the Gemara, that when it's lower than 10 tefachim, it's not considered a Rosh Hashanah, rather it's Rosh Hashanah, and Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda would agree that the Balabayas is chayiv. Start with a general outline of Tosfos. The Gemara explained that our Mishnah can fit with Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda, since Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda only said it's a Rosh Hashanah when it's above 10 tefachim, and our Mishnah is referring to a case when it's within 10 tefachim. Tosfos is going to ask two questions, but only answer one of them. Let's begin and see the Tosfos in the flowchart form. So in our Gemara, we explained that how the Mishnah could fit with Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda will only say it's a Rosh Hashanah when the basket is above 10 tefachim. Our Mishnah is referring to a case when it's within 10 tefachim. So Tosfos asks, if it's within 10 tefachim, although it's not a Rosh Hashanah, but it shouldn't either be considered a Rosh Hashanah, because any object in Rosh Hashanah that's 4 tefachim wide by 4 tefachim wide, once it's above 3 tefachim, up to 10 tefachim, it's considered a karmelis. So the Balabayas is carrying from Rosh Hashanah to a karmelis. So why is he chayev? And Tosfos answers that we can say ein karmelis bekalim, like Rashi says later on. We learn that if there's a box in Rosh Hashanah that's 4 tefachim wide by 4 tefachim wide, and it's higher than 3 tefachim from the ground, where a person is allowed to carry from that basket into the Rosh Hashanah. And Rashi explains the reason is because even though it would seem that it's a karmelis, says Rashi, the reason is because ein karmelis bekalim. The same thing over here when the ani is holding the kili. The basket, it's not considered a karmelis, so if it was above 10 tefachim, it would be a Rosh Hashanah. But once it's within the Rosh Hashanah, we say ein karmelis b'kelim, and it's considered a Rosh Hashanah, just like the area that it's lying in, which is the Rosh Hashanah. So that's the first question of Tosfos and the answer. Now we move to the second question of Tosfos. First, we'll just present it, not the way Tosfos actually says it, because it's more simple this way, and then we'll show the way Tosfos actually asks the question. This is a question that the Ri asks. And he asked, what was even the question originally in the Gemara? We try to conclude that our Mishnah won't fit with Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda would say that it's a Rosh Hashanah. It says Tosfos, we know from the very beginning that the basket was obviously within 10 tefachim, because if the basket is higher than 10 tefachim and the only standing in Rosh Hashanah, we know that above 10 tefachim Rosh Hashanah is a makom ptur. So obviously it's referring to a case that the basket was within 10 tefachim. Now if it's within 10 tefachim, Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda certainly doesn't hold that a basket within 10 tefachim is to be considered a Rosh Hashanah, since we know that one of the requirements for the Rosh Hashanah is that it needs to be 10 tefachim high. So what was even the Gemara's question originally to say, oh, our Mishnah won't fit with Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda is going to say that the basket's a Rosh Hashanah. He most certainly would not say that, since number one, the basket cannot be above 10 tefachim, because if it was above 10 tefachim, it would be a makom ptur, so it's within 10 tefachim. And number two, there's 2 points. Tosfos first proved that it must be within 10 tefachim, since above 10 tefachim would be a makom ptur. The second point is Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda certainly doesn't hold that it can be a Rosh Hashanah if it's within 10 tefachim. So what was the Gemara's question even originally? It's very clear to us from other reasons, like we just presented, that the basket is for sure within 10 tefachim, and Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda certainly doesn't hold that within 10 tefachim is considered a Rosh Hashanah. Now we'll present it the way Tosfos does, which is questions, and then with the background information, and then the question, and again background information. But it's all really one question. Ri asks, what's even the question over here on Rabbi Yesi Rabbi Yehuda? On our own, we know it must be it's a case where it's below 10 tefachim. How do we know on our own that it's below 10 tefachim? Because if it was above 10 tefachim, In the Rosh Hashanah, it's a Makam Ptur, and then the Balabayas would be Pater for carrying there. So obviously, it was within 10 Tvachim. And once we established that it's within 10 Tvachim, so then what's the question for Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda? What did we ask on Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda that he would hold it's a Rosh Hashanah? He most certainly would not hold it's a Rosh Hashanah within 10 Tvachim, since within 10 Tvachim, a place, an area is not able to be a Rosh Hashanah. One of the requirements for Rosh Hashanah is to be above 10 Tvachim. Like Tosfos quotes the teaching, we learned that a Rosh Hashanah must be 10 Tvachim high and 4 Tvachim by 4 Tvachim. So Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda most certainly would not hold that the Mishnah is a case where the basket is a Rosh Hashanah, since it's within 10 Tvachim. And then the last and final point, so obviously Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda only said it's a Rosh Hashanah when it's above 10 Tvachim. And therefore we have our question that what did we originally ask? That it seems, we wanted to conclude, it seems that the Mishnah won't fit with Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda will hold that the basket's a Rosh Hashanah. He most certainly will not hold it's a Rosh Hashanah, since it's clearly within 10 Tvachim. And without a doubt, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda will not hold that an area within 10 Tvachim is a Rosh Hashanah. So we have two questions in Tosfos. The first is that even if it's within 10 Tvachim, although it's not a Rosh Hashanah, it should be a Carmelis. And we explained Ein Carmelis Bekalim. The second question is, what were we even thinking originally to ask that it's above 10, thinking that it's above 10 Tvachim, if obviously it's not above 10 Tvachim, and obviously if it's not above 10 Tvachim, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda will not hold that it's Rosh Hashanah. So what were we even thinking originally to ask and conclude that it won't fit with Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda?